That's all right. I'm recording. We got Mr. Triplet starting DLA DAO show episode 7 off with some Disney World footage live.
Disneyland, California Adventure.
Disneyland. Not Florida, California. He's in California. What do you do? What's the weather report there? It's looking nice out there in the field, Mr. Triplet.
Oh, the weather is beautiful here in California.
Are you ready to begin your training?
You you're at the Star Wars park, right?
Yeah, this is Marvel Campus.
Oh man!
So
Go over there and take that sword and smack him in the shin with it.
So there you go. Got my Entre hat. You can see I'm here.
Yeah, you got the Entre hat on, representing at Disneyland.
You see a little. See some of the sights and sounds.
Go. Can you hear me, Triplet?
I can. Can you see me?
Yeah. I can see and hear everything. Go grab that sword and smack her in the shins with it.
You want me to die at Disneyland?
What a way to go.
They do have a Disney jail here.
They do. I bet they have some idiots up there.
By a what do you call it? Wakanda soldier at Disney.
I'll have to share with you. I just met a TikTok influencer here with his brother that have 7 million followers on TikTok. We took a picture and I told him all about DSO, so we made a connection. We'll see what happens. But
even at Disney.
Yeah, well, today is the first day of the 100 Days of Disney celebration, where Disney companies celebrating their 100 years of Disney. It's their 100th birthday as a company. So there's a lot of influencers and media here at Disney. So it's kind of a big day. But you're watching some sort of Wakanda Forever celebration here live at I wish I could switch the camera and see what you're seeing, but
what is...
We have some warriors here from the American tribe.
Tell me when you want me to click out, and I'll click out for you.
I was going to ask you, what's Disney's earnings report looking like?
Oh, I don't know, but I used to own stock in Disney. I sold after I went 10x or 20x or whatever on it, so 1,000%. Yeah. I don't have any Disney anymore.
Oh,
did I bother you in the middle of your end of week analysis of the stock market?
No,
yes.
This is perfect. This is perfect.
Perfect. You like it? I'll keep letting you watch this.
Yeah, we need you as our live reporter to go out to all the events and stuff and just let us know what's going on. We're like a real weather show, a real news show right now.
If I see Bob Iver, I'll ask him how Disney's doing.
Yeah, you see him asking, saying, "What's your earnings report?" Right on the spot. No, walk up to him and go, "What's your net worth?" Let's vote for the justice.
So, are you streaming to Twitter Spaces as well? Hello, YouTube, Twitter.
This is all everywhere right now.
So hopefully you enjoy the little video. Oh. There we go. That's my wife and daughter that just passed by. They looked at me like, "Are you streaming? God damn it!"
You're supposed to be on vacation.
I brought 2 hats. When I was telling the other guy about diesel, I switched hats.
So you got the Entre and diesel hat.
Oh yeah, and I got them both here to take pictures for both platforms.
Nice. Putting in this is what we need out of guys. This is the only way we get people into the
I'm just waiting.
and diesel space. Got to have a hat and go to Disney World and.
I've got annual passes now, so we can do a live stream whenever you want to.
Oh yeah, there we go. I just wish Wakanda Forever would stop.
I'm showing you that. I can walk away if you like. Here we go.
No, it's fine. I'm just joking.
I'll probably live stream for the Spider-Man show.
So Mr. Triple get hit in the neck with one of those what they call them, the things that blow darts.
It sounds like dang, dude.
Wow.
Get hit in the neck by a blowtorch.
That became dark really quickly. Like, I went to Disneyland, saw the Wakanda Forever show, and got hit in the neck with a blow dart. There's a lot of people watching.
Cosby must be there too.
So check out this cool thing up here while they're doing that. That's pretty cool.
Excellent work, crew.
What is that?
So,
What you're
yeah.
showing us?
Oh, I mean, that is wow. I've never really seen all the Marvel movies, so I don't know what the hell I'm looking at. But it's like a ship or something. What's that on top of the building? I've never seen the Marvel movies.
Well, you know, that's supposed to be headquarters.
Headquarters, Avengers Campus headquarters. Perfect. There you go. We're actually live here with the cast member at Disneyland on a show that's talking about the analysis of stocks this week. Is Disney doing well? That's the real question. How's the Disney stock doing? He said no comment. He can't talk about. He said he'll get me a meeting with Ivan later. His words, not mine.
Yeah.
Thanks. He said, "Oh no," he's laughing all about that. So yeah, that's Avengers Campus right there. It's pretty funny.
There we go. Here's from one of them. Ask the employee if he needs help. Tell him to blink twice if he needs help.
He's in the middle of his show right now. I kind of interrupted him during his tech. I think he's part of the tech crew for the show. And now the show's off by about 4 seconds because of me. So,
Yes, we're ruining Disney show for the DLA DAO show right now.
There we go. So I probably should go before my wife gets upset because every time I go, every time my wife and kids stop to sit and wait for something, I'm like, can I stream?
Yeah, man.
Sure.
Get back.
I grab a hat. There we go.
Get back
Hold
to
on,
your family, man.
No, we're good. Here we go. We'll get you a little bit a better view. Oh, they're indoctrinating the young ones.
They should give them all blow darts.
And then they can turn and shoot at me.
Yeah, because you asked a Disney employee about their stock. That guy's ran and did 3 Hail Marys and washed his mouth out with soap and everything because you asked him that question.
This is the moment that they're going to turn on Mr. Triple with their spears and start throwing at him. There you go. You're watching this. All the kids seem to be enjoying it. Interesting content for the day on ENTRE.
Yeah, definitely thought it was a nice way to start the DLA DAO. So,
Awesome, perfect. Yeah, earlier today I actually did the launch of the Lunar New Year parade with Mulan, and we had Kahindi join us from Nigeria on ENTRE. And then we did something at the animation studios inside California Adventure, and we had a couple other people, Connor and Gary's wife, Anna Louise, she joined. And I'll be doing some other streams later on through the day if I have a chance to do live streams on ENTRE. So
all right,
I'll let you go.
Keep us updated on the ground. Keep up the great work, Diesel and ENTRE.
Diesel and ENTRE. There we go. That's parting. There we go. I think Ben has moves like that.
Oh, my moves, I'd put them to shame right now. I'd be on my hands, feet up in the air right now on that bench right behind them. Be parkouring all over that park.
I'll let you guys go. Have a good one.
All right, appreciate you joining us, Mr. Tripp. Thanks for the Disney update. What a way to start out DLA DAO Show, Episode 7. We're supposed to be starting out with some end-of-the-week technical analysis on the stock market, the crypto markets, NFT markets, all that type of stuff. If you don't know yet, DLA DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. Gamers, traders, investors, creators, developers, artists, all that trying to work for the collective goal of decentralizing Web3 for play to earn and other entertainment aspects. We also have our own metaverse game in the works, forgottencorners.io. Be sure to check that out. Some real interesting announcements going to be coming out very soon. Very soon, said a wise man a long day ago. Anyway, welcome to the show. We got HH Trader up here, security dev and live stream stock trader. And we've got Fresh Bueller, DLA DAO dev for the Unreal Engine development and game design of Forgotten Corners. And we got Sakawat, which I think is part of our DLA DAO community, but if not, they're just new to Entre. But either way, thanks for joining us. Let's get the show started. Well, I guess we already started with that beautiful on-the-ground live report from Disney in California. But H, you're saying the market, something happened today towards the market close. What happened?
So, of course, we know that the markets have been going up crazy this last week. I mean, Tesla, boy, I tell you what, Tesla has been almost like a it's moved. You know how Tesla used to move like a meme stock? Well, it's really been moving like a real meme stock nowadays. You can see here on my screen here, we had a little bit of just some upward movement, just peaceful, nice upward movement. But then we had a gap from the 145s up to the 160s, a $20 jump on Tesla. And then these past 2 days, it went from the 160s almost up to the 180s. And I was just watching it, looking at it, and I was like, wow, this, Tesla is one of those that people, they fall out of love with it just as quick as they fall in love with it. And I've just kind of noticed it with all the meme stocks, AMC, GM's, GameStop, all of them, it's a love-hate relationship. People love them because of the speed of which they move when they're moving in their direction. But boy, when they're not, they can take your whole account out. They can take, whatever you think that your hopes and dreams were, they can take all those out. But anyway, for today, I was looking at the stock market. Of course, now I trade.
Real quick. I gotta ask you a question about Tesla.
Yeah.
I've heard this before somewhere. Would you use Tesla as an indicator for the entire NASDAQ and the U.S. economy?
Oh my God.
That's kind of like saying, would you use Mississippi, where I'm at, to gauge what's going on in the entire U.S.?
I think it's even bigger than that. It's like, would you use Mississippi to gauge the entire globe?
Yeah. Yeah, Tesla is definitely just something that is on the whims of Elon Musk and all of his charades and stuff that he's got going.
Yeah, you were mentioning it trades like a penny stock, which it does, even though it's I guess considered a blue chip or whatever. Big.
I mean, a $20 jump up with not that much news out here. It says now the news for today, we can see right here, it says Elon Musk. Let me pull this up. Elon Musk meets with White House officials and congressional Republicans today. And that news came out at 3:30 something, towards the end of the market is when it came out. One thing that I'd like to always remember on Fridays is that Fridays are meant to be sellout days. Originally in the markets, they were sellout days, but a lot of days now we've kind of just dubbed Fridays Freaky Fridays, because we don't know what kind of craziness is going to go on in the market. And that's why you have to already have your rules and all the things that you have for your specific trading strategy written down in the plan in concrete, because I'm telling you, the FOMO is real. When you see Tesla start ripping, 30, 40, 50 cents, and then, oh no, it's ripping $1, $2, $4. Oh no, it's ripping $5, $6, $7. FOMO gets real. And your tongue starts sweating and things just, you have to have a strict regimen of when you're going to trade.
Hold on. We can't just glaze over that. Did you just say when your tongue starts sweating?
Yeah, man, your tongue starts sweating. That's that drool,
That ain't something you can say all nonchalantly in your analysis and get away with. All right, anyway, get back. I just was not going to let that blow past, because that's crazy sounding. Go ahead.
But yeah, man, it's just one of those things where for me, the only saving grace that I have now during FOMO is my rule set. If I remember when I was first trading and first getting into the analysis and all this, man, FOMO got me every time. Every single time. People be like in my live stream chat, they'd be like, it's going up. And I'm like, yes, it is. I'm sitting here just gritting my teeth, trying to stay away from the buy button, and then oops, I trip, fall, and land on the buy button. And now I'm in a trade that I am totally unprepared for. Don't have an extra strategy, no parachute, nothing. Just in it naked. And that's one thing that I kind of have been just working on. And I posted our rule set in our Discord, our Framework Fortune Discord. I might bring up those rules in here as well. But anyway, for this week, the SPY was going crazy. I mean, the minimum drawdowns were getting bought up on every. Let me go to the my other platform here. So this other platform that I have here is Street Smart Edge. The first one was TOS. I used both of them. I used TOS for my actual, uh, I guess my larger time frame charting, the scanners, the news, and that kind of stuff. But I actually enter my trades with Street Smart Edge. Um, with Street Smart Edge though, it's a lot smoother. A lot of days when, and the crazy thing is TOS or Charles Schwab bought Thinkorswim, but the Street Smart Edge program is just so much smoother to me since I've been using it. Been using it for about a year and a half almost, and it's just so much smoother just to see everything. Now, it does not compete well with the news and all that, but with the order entries, it's great. Especially with the small caps that I usually take part in. So yeah, the SPY, we can look at some of these. Like this is an hour chart, and I'll make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. Now the SPY had a couple of drops and pops and things, but everything on this little trip up since it came, let's see, what was this, January 19th? We can see a couple of wicks down and some heavy buying pressure getting them back up off of these wicks. I mean, just insane buying pressure. And these were actual moves where you could see the body of the candle down in that position and it just popping back up within an instant. Um, but yeah, this week, the SPY oil. Now I hope that oil doesn't continue to rip up. It broke over and let me go back to the oil chart. Oil over here. Where's oil? So oil had broke over the $80 level. It was bouncing multiple times out here, and I was like, man, I don't know if I'm really interested in any oil plays. It kind of formed a channel in here between 79 and 70, and it's just been botching back and forth since the beginning of the year. So, well, this is December botching, and now we're into January, and it's holding around this top. So I'm wondering, okay, this thing waited all December. December was kind of like a very choppy month. Is this thing going to try to break over the 80s and go higher back to the 90s and maybe even to the hundreds with the right kind of catalyst, right? Of course, we know that the Feds have been dropping news on rate hikes and what else have they been talking about?
All kinds of stuff, all types of stuff. They've been talking about the CBDCs. They've been over in Davos conference. John Kerry was there again. They're working hard. They're out here ready with a lunch packed.
Have you seen that? I know we talked about it before. It was I think they're trying to abolish the IRS. Did you see that news?
I have heard this, but I don't. Who is trying to abolish them? Because I don't know the full story on this.
Republicans.
I mean, I don't blame them. I don't like that. Nobody likes the IRS. Is this a bad idea?
So basically, they have a new tax act going in. It's going to be on consumer, based on consumer spending. So basically, all the taxes and things will be handled in store. Like you want to buy a Snicker, you don't pay tax on that anymore. You go ahead and handle it in store. So every year, you don't have to be filing taxes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So,
Let me
but
actually pull up you
yeah, pull that story because that's a very interesting topic. And Dallas, welcome to the show. You're welcome to come up here and join the conversation. We're talking about some market news and this possible abolition of the IRS.
yeah, they're
Which,
working hard on it. And it's a kind of 2 to 3 fold reasoning behind it. Some people say that the Republicans are mad because um
oh,
Trump's
well,
Trump's tax information came out and all that. And then some people are like, well, it may be better for in general for the people, going forward, because think about it. How many people struggle to keep up and do their taxes every year?
well,
Paying
let me
people
let me
and
throw this. Let me throw this in there.
go ahead.
They go to CBDC. It's on blockchain. Do you need IRS anymore? Because all the data is right there and easily accessible. You can have an AI do it.
Exactly. Well, I mean, but you wouldn't even need an AI. You can use those resources elsewhere.
No, I mean that's true. I mean, it's not hard to pull up a blockchain mint scan or whatever and see all the addresses and stuff, or search for them on there. But that's kind of what I'm thinking is maybe because they're going to the CBDCs, it kind of makes the IRS irrelevant. Like we pay a whole bunch of money for the IRS to take our money. Isn't that one of the craziest things? we pay a government department to make sure that we're paying the government.
Yeah, that's how it is, man. It's let me see what this act is called that they're trying to put in place though. It's called a
Yeah,
consumption tax is what they're trying to transition the income tax into consumption tax. So what you basically spend your money, let me pull that up. Consumption tax.
so was it supposed to be like higher depending on what you consume? Like Mr. Triple, for instance, his consumer tax would be highest on porn. So
Got you.
is
Well,
it based like
yes,
that?
and the same thing with the actual percentage of actual like household items like in the grocery store. The
Okay.
biggest issue that the Democrats have with it is it's going to boost prices. So let's say you paying $5 per, or I don't know, $2 for a bag of chips. And then you go in
Right.
there after this thing has passed, and now the bag of chips is $5. But
Yeah.
you're not having to do taxes, and also all of your income tax is removed. So it's like it's kind of give or take, give and take.
Dallas, you got some insights?
I have a few questions, maybe because like I just joined and I'm
For sure.
anyway. So you're saying that they're going to remove income tax and kind of just apply it to almost like an APR in a sense where it's like applied to the different products that people buy based on how frequently they buy it.
Yes. So
Jesus.
basically, all your taxes would be done in store. Like if you go to buy a phone, if you go to buy food, groceries, or whatever, all of it will be done at the place of business.
So I mean, just for right now, at my point of understanding this, that sounds like there's a lot of potential for it to be a good thing. But if I know anything about the government, that's probably a lot of like, subtext to it that makes it more of a con. Like, what do you guys think about it in terms of a pro and con?
Well, for me, I was thinking about, okay, so let's say, and I guess it affects different people differently, based on income. I guess if you're making 400 or 300K or something like that, you may not be worried about it. But I mean, for the average person, let's say if they're making 50K. I mean, not having income tax and not having to pay a tax professional every year to do your taxes, that could be money back in your pocket, even if now. And the other, I guess I should have just listed out what I wanted to say, but I'm thinking about pros and cons here. The con that I see is that the businesses themselves, like let's say Kroger, Walmart, um, um, different retail stores. All of them are going to have to completely shift their pricing, you know, for this new thing. So I would want to see regulations on how much change they can do before I would like to see it in place. Because if they like, oh, well, you guys are making more money, we about to make you pay, $10 for some shoestrings.
Yeah,
It's you know
easier to price gouge when
yeah.
it's like this for sure. That's why I'm wondering, like, if they think they're going to pull it off because they're going to use some type of blockchain. Like, there's only thing I keep thinking for like every store to be able to have that built in and everything. The current systems I don't think could really hold that, but some blockchain certainly could.
Fair Tax Act. Here it is, 2023. Fair Tax Act, GOP consumption tax. Let me click on it. Don't take me to nothing crazy. Okay.
So it has to be something that like I don't know. I feel like it targets like this system that we currently have targets the lower class, and a consumption based system targets the higher class people. Like you have more income, you're spending more of your money will go to tax.
Yeah, that's kind of I think the good version
Well,
of it.
I don't agree with overtaxing the rich, right? Because like the
Right.
government is a company that sucks at handling money. So if I'm rich as a person, I'm better than you at handling money. Why should I give you
Oh,
more
you know
money?
what? Now that you say that, that just made me think about it. Most of the rich don't have a bunch of money. They have a bunch of debt, so they'd still be purchasing it in debt. It would be tax exempt if they purchase in debt. I mean, or no, I
Yeah,
guess
so
it
the
would.
system is well, I think that the system is just it's not that they would get uh they'd be tax exempt, but it doesn't matter. Debt is debt is debt.
It also would change the consumer spending patterns, right? Like everybody's used to getting
Yes.
that money in January and February and March and like a big chunk. And I mean, you're talking about a whole change in the U.S. economy and every year period. What would happen then too, like with the stock markets and everything? Like that's quite a
Well,
change.
coming behind that, think about the psychological change. You go into a grocery store and at products that you were once seeing at $3 are now $6. I think that will slow people spending down a little bit until they, see that increase in, year over year, what money they are getting, not having to do all these taxes, not having to do all that. I think it would actually be almost like if it was a chart pattern, it would be almost like a drop off in the economy and then a resurgence once people can understand what they can do with their money, because it takes people a while to, one, if they know nothing about if they know nothing about this plan or bill, they're going to be in reaction mode instead of what's the next word, not, they're going to be reacting to what they're seeing, and the information is going to come so fast. They're like, oh my goodness, I just don't need to do anything, let me just wait. And we'll see. And I believe during that time, that'll give the stores time to readjust the prices and be able to kind of move things around while people are scared. And then they set them, and people are like, well, used to be $3, I'm paying $6. Okay, but my check is a little bit bigger each month. You know what I'm saying?
How
Yeah.
far along is this bill? Is it like
Well, this is now. I heard about this the beginning of this week about this Fair Tax Act of 2023 that they're trying to get pushed through the House or whatnot. But like I said, it was
so?
recent. It was recent news for
Even
me. I didn't even.
Even if this is definitely new news. Even if they do get it pushed through the House, I think the Senate's still dim controlled, so it gets shot down in the Senate. But if a Republican president comes in 2024, which at the rate things are looking, just at everything is most likely going to happen. But
45 is coming back, bro. 45 is coming back to save the day.
45.
So I have two questions kind of around this. The first is, well, I guess I better ask this first before I forget. But like, so my limited understanding of how big I guess the rich or whatever, or especially big companies like corporations or whatever, the way that they you're probably familiar with like Amazon and how they don't pay taxes or something, like their taxes like zero, whatever. And one particular way that I'm aware of to be able to do that is where like
Well, hold on. Amazon does pay taxes. They have to pay employee payroll tax.
Well, I meant
Like,
or maybe specifically Jeff Bezos, but what I'm getting at is that guys like that, they have one like American-based company, and then they'll have like a multinational company in like Switzerland or what the other one near the Caribbean or whatever. But so then the company in America basically pays the company overseas or offshore, whatever term you want to call it, so that they don't have to pay taxes. It's like a write-off or whatever.
a subsidiary shell company. We see them in the stock market all the time. They're usually in the trash can where we trade at, and then they just pop out of
And there's
nowhere.
like moving things to Cayman Islands, stuff like that, tax havens, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Exactly. So as far as I know right now, like that kind of is one method of avoiding taxes. So it sounds like this replacing the income tax with higher consumer-based taxes might be a way to be able to address that, so that it's kind of like equals the playing field somewhat. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Well, go ahead.
but the other thing, I guess, I was just a point I wanted to bring up. But the other thing I was curious about is, are you guys familiar with the act that was passed in like March of last year about something about like digital currency or something? I can pull up the exact thing. But are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
There was a few things in America, so I don't know. You'd have to say which exact one it is that they passed.
All right, let me look. I can.
Yeah, if you can grab the article and drop it in the room chat, then H can pull it up on his screen. He's looking it up right now.
Bipartisan Virtual Currency Tax Fairness Act of 2022.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. That's the same name.
I think that's the one where, but for the few conversations I've had about it, it sounds like, in a way, in the simplest terms, it'll enable the government to like basically deactivate your money for any reason whatsoever.
Oh yeah, that's going on. That's the whole world, the Econ Forum thing. They've been doing this in China with the digital yuan. Like you have a social credit score. Like, you don't have a normal credit score. It's based on your social activity. So they know every single thing you're doing. They see everything
Coming
you
to
do.
Canada 2023, just so you guys are aware.
Yeah. Most countries are, well, I don't say most, but a good portion of them are starting to switch to it. Because that was the whole plan, is to eventually have one bank, one world bank that everybody has their bank account with and has a social credit score. So but they can lock you out of your money in China now, like they, because it's all blockchain, it's CBDC.
So do you think that this is kind of like steps toward that on a global level, or at least America or whatever?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. That is what they want. I mean, that's the thing. You have to have all the big nations to agree to make a global government. So currently, there is a lot of people in our government that is a part of the World Econ Forum, along with a huge amount of corporations like Google, Microsoft, Goldman Sachs, tons of them. The World Econ Forum partner list is an A through Z list, and it's everybody. So a lot of people don't think this is going to happen. A lot of people still think that it's fairy tale, even though they have been nonstop streaming this stuff from their YouTube. I'm a subscriber of the World Econ Forum YouTube channel, so I can stay up to date with the crazy economic stuff they're talking about like this. But yeah, I mean, that's where it's all trying to go. But China was the testing grounds. Got Joseph Stone. Joseph Stone, don't come up here asking networks right off the bat. Get nice and warm in the DLA DAO show. But yeah, I mean, it's our, like, China that social credit score thing is so insane. Like people, when somebody else decides you get your money based on what are you doing in society and whether that's good or not, like how is it fair for them to judge you if it's good or not? Like this is a survival. You're just talking about your money here, so your food is basically what it boils down to.
Well, and we're talking about something you've already worked for. Like you already have made this money. So you don't get to tell me now you can't have the money you spent all this time making.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing with these type of tax acts. These are the people who are trying to put in these things. So of course they're not going to be for the middle class or working people. They never are. Because the bottom line is, like Dallas, you were saying, could this possibly keep rich people in America or their money in America? No. Like there's banks everywhere else offering better deals on currencies that are performing better against the dollar right now.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
it's easy for them to move money, especially now with crypto. Like you can move millions of Bitcoin in 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes to whatever account you want to. Like they're not going to keep their money. It's going to fall on us like it always does, the middle class and lower class.
So what does that like? How, let's see, what is the next play in response rather than a reaction? What is the next play, do you guys think, to kind of like, not necessarily negate that, but, at least deal with it, to be prepared to deal
I
with it?
think the biggest thing is going to be, or to have a plan in place already for money management. If you
Right.
don't have a plan and you're trying to build a plan around this new system that you already have to get used to a new system. It's a difference when you have a budget and it's already, your expenses, everything, and you just make some small adjustments to counteract this plan, and instead of starting from scratch with no plan, and now you have to make these huge adjustments to this.
Well, let me rephrase the question. Is there one thing that comes to mind for you guys when, the reason I'm asking is because, one thing came to my mind. I just wanted to kind of ask around and see what you guys, if there was like one thing that stood out that could probably at least help, with the being prepared in some regards. And for me, I'll just say it, the first thing that came to my mind was dual citizenship or multiple citizenships.
Yep. Some type of escape plan. That's why I went digital nomad and got a big RV now, so I can drive across the border down to South America where they're crypto friendly. Like this has seriously been my plans for a while. People tell me I'm crazy. I'm like, well, we may see some crazy things. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I don't think it's crazy. That's good for you, man. At least you got a plan,
Yeah, like I could have locked myself down in like a 30-year mortgage, but you're locking yourself down to that country for 30 years with your debt, with your credit.
I just
Like if you're flipping houses or you're renting out houses or whatever, you can travel, but if you're just living in that house, you're just kind of stuck there. So, what's up, Frisch? Or is that Joseph? Sorry, whoever. Come on,
yeah,
Joseph.
I got a mentorship with Grant Cardone. I talked to him today live one-on-one. I was one of the lucky winners to actually get to talk to him, and he told me today, my biggest problem is focus. So like he told me
Really?
personally, you're like
focus. I wonder who's been saying that on Entre a whole lot.
Well, I heard it from a multi-billionaire, so definitely.
Oh, okay. So now it's okay. Now it makes sense.
God told me.
God told me.
But
No, that's
anyway,
good, man. Congratulations.
But I got to meet Cardone. That's an accomplishment for me.
Yeah, say congratulations, man. I'm excited for you. I'm happy to hear that. I'm glad because he's kind of like an idol for you, so that's cool.
Yeah, he was a little bit boasty about it though. He was like, I feel like he was jealous because I was young. I don't know. I got this like weird vibe off him.
Hold on. You think Grant Cardone got jealous of you today?
Yeah, because I was young.
Because you're young?
Yeah.
What do you mean because you're young? Like, how did he get? What do you mean by he was jealous because you're young? Because like he wants you as his boyfriend, or because
No,
he's like
because he's old. Because he's old already.
Yeah, like
I wish I had the
not even-
confidence to think that somebody like that would be jealous of me, bro.
Hey, congratulations, Joseph, on that. That's got to
Thank
feel
you,
good.
Dallas. No, for like no, I saved the clip, but yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
I got to talk to Grant Cardone. He said my biggest problem is I'm in the wrong rooms because especially since I'm young, I'm very influenced. And he said so 3 things he told me. We'll cover it real quick. He said I'm very influential about the people around me, and I have to stop telling my big dreams to small people. And what he told me by that is he preaches this a lot, but like when you have big aspirations, I find out a lot. Like remember the time with Socket, people will try to put you down purposely to test you, and when they test you, they want to see if you're up for the fame and if you're up for the work. And I am, but I'm still trying to struggle over trying to focus. And he was like, the biggest thing you can do is focus. Is his sales guy? He did almost 60.4 million in sales, and he said the biggest reason is you want to make money, and you have to let the money aside and pretend like no one's really passionate about marketing. He said you want to make money, of course, confident, but find something you like in the marketing. Find something you like doing, and just enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, enjoy the destination. Not the destination, enjoy the journey, and then work about the destination. And this hit me so hard, and yeah, so I'm just taking the marketing, and we'll see where it takes me in the next 6 to 12 months.
Hey, Joseph, just curious, but didn't I tell you the same thing?
Yeah, but sometimes
You're not a multi-billionaire.
like I'm very open-minded. I'm very open-minded.
I know you are, man. Above all, I hope, at least in my mind, I feel like the number one thing I try to communicate to you is not to like I do the same thing. I make the same mistake too. You know, we're all human, but like, don't overshare with people who don't actually support or want the best for you, and don't let anyone else get to you because, you know, they are testing you in a way.
Oh yeah, people are gonna test you in this entrepreneur world. Well, they're gonna test you regardless. I mean, you go to Food City and you get a Karen in front of you, and they're talking on the phone and not throwing their groceries in. Their kids running around kicking you in the shin. You're gonna get tested every step of the way through life. But being on this entrepreneur path, you're gonna keep getting tested. Very few entrepreneurs get lucky enough to just all of a sudden make a bunch of money. For most of us, it's a hard grind. Nice, I see. Very nice.
What is that?
Yeah, it's the Instagram for the marketing.
Oh, nice, man. Cool.
But yeah,
Go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
I was just gonna say the reason why he didn't want to take it from you, Dallas, is because you did not bring Cambodian goat milk for Joseph to drink for his utility.
That's not true.
And you know, of course, I'll be the first to admit, I don't have the numbers in my bank account like Grant does.
But no, I feel like we all can take something from you, and that's the biggest lesson I just learned. Like no matter who you are, you should still look in the lessons everyone gives you. You can't just
For
be
sure.
deciding. You can't just decide this person isn't successful doesn't mean they don't have good advice. And this is so
Hey, just
fucking
curious,
true.
just curious, but what exactly, like, what drew your interest to Grant Cardone?
Grant Cardone, marketing. So actually, a lot of people don't
He does have
realize.
good marketing.
Yes, he has one of the best market. Robin Hood's in here.
Did you ever? I mean, I found him through. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh,
I'm confused. I'm confused. There's Robinhood. I use that as a vesting app. That's not the right Robinhood.
No, that's Robinhood FX that's in here.
All right, that's not my vesting app.
Did you want to speak on something? You can raise your hand.
Yeah, man.
All right, no, go ahead.
He's raising. Bring him up.
I got.
Yeah. Now that we're getting quite a few people, let's try to use the hand button so we don't talk over each other too much and sound
I'm gonna talk over all y'all.
Mother triplet, you son of a, go eat a turkey leg. All right.
I'm waiting for the Spider-Man show at Avenger Campus, so that way you guys can watch it.
All right, cool. Just raise your hand when you see the Spider-Man starting. Raise your hand in the
I'll probably just sling a web your way when I'm ready.
Okay. Oh, that's a bar, I think. All right, go ahead, Dallas.
All I was gonna say was, I've heard very mixed reviews about Grant Cardone. A lot of, I think it was pretty well known that people like Socket really didn't like him. And there's a lot of younger generation cats who don't like him. What drew me to what he does was that there was like a TV show about where they gave him like $100 and no access to anything, no cell phone or whatever, and he had to make $1 million or $5
I
million.
remember it. The
You remember
challenge.
that
He
shit?
made it.
I thought
He
that
made
was
it.
dope. I thought that was
Yeah.
freaking awesome. I mean, I don't know how much of it was doctored or if it, is even believable.
So
but
he actually, I talked to him about that before. He
Yeah,
did
go
that.
ahead.
He did that because, basically what they don't show you is like he was homeless. Like they made like fucking he was living it like he had no money. And when he reached out to that business owner, brung him some marketing, he doesn't like he's so original. Like that's like one of the great things you can do. Like I feel like with our next generation, all the entrepreneurs and business owners are going to be online, so they're not going to realize and face the biggest adversity that the older entrepreneur realm felt. Because when you're an entrepreneur, we didn't have technology to their access. So we have to realize that they had to struggle through more adversity than the technology realm will have to. Because at the end of the day, we have a supercomputer in our hand, and they didn't have that. And that's what's going to make the OGs the OGs. Just
You're
like
damn right, Joseph. I remember back in the day having a beeper. You know what a beeper is? A
yeah,
pager?
just like that, you click the message and like you can record. So like all the doctors and have that shit. But I don't want to get sidetracked. Let me finish real quick, not to interrupt you.
All right, hurry up so we can go to Robin Hood.
But with that said, I feel like we all have to realize that we have it so built. Now, America's not great. We're not great. We're all not great. But if we focus and we stick to one thing and we excel in that one thing, we all can become millionaires in this room. Because after all, millionaires practically broke. He told me something. He was like, he's like, Joe, a millionaire is nothing. Like millions, like that's pocket change for me. I was like, the fuck? I don't even got a mil. And you're talking about like a million's pocket change. Just throw out. I was like, throw out me a million. He was like, no, that's not how it works. I could, but it's not going to help you because you'd lose the money right away. Because wealthy people, they know how to work their money. They know how to make money work. And he said that's how you actually become wealthy. It's not what money you have, what assets you have. It's how you know to use money. How do you know money, how to make your money work for you? You have all the knowledge about money. You know everything about wealth. That's the secret to success.
So you mean like passive incomes, passive revenues?
No, so actually he has
No. What?
So,
Hold on, let's go to Robin Hood real quick and see what he just joined, and let's get his thoughts here on this conversation of Grant Cardone. We went from Disney World into the stock market to the IRS. Now
that's
to
what
Grant
happens when
Cardone.
the phone joins the room.
What's going on, Robin Hood? We also got Triplet. Oh, there's Spider-Man on the roof. That's HH in a suit.
What the fuck?
I don't know if you want sound. I'll put it on for you.
Whoa, hang on. My spider sense is telling me I need to test this suit. Okay, it's not. But I want to do some swinging.
She's swinging.
Is he on top of a Circuit City? What is that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I've never seen the show. We're waiting. Go ahead, talk stocks. I'll ask Spider-Man what the value of.
Yeah.
There we go.
Time for a little spidey
There we go.
exercise.
I can mute myself if you like.
Yeah, music board is really crazy. Perfect. Thank you. Now we can watch Spider-Man. What's up, Robin Hood? Hop in there now that we got Spider-Man parkour.
Hey guys, what's going on? I didn't know what was happening, so I just wanted to stay a little bit quiet. But I did see you guys were talking about Grant Cardone, and I did want to point something out. Is like what happened with Grant Cardone, what happened with Warren Buffett, those older type of players here, we do have to keep in mind that how they built their wealth was off of a different environment that we're actually going into. Like now that they have their wealth, they're secure as long as they continue to do what they're doing and they're able to pay down their wealth. But when it comes to generating new wealth, that's going to be a lot harder for us to actually do if we pay attention to what's been happening with like interest rates. And we are kind of still trying to understand, okay, is the Federal Reserve going to continue raising interest rates? Are they going to lower them? Are they going to pause them? Because what they have done.
This will be cool.
Predicted rate of success?
If you haven't seen this yet, it's a robotic
Now
trick.
you're rounding down, right?
You'll dig this.
Okay, it's time to see what this suit can do.
This is what I've been wanting to
Hope
see
we
for a
can do
while.
this.
Watch,
Is the
watch.
volume necessary?
Whoa! I can see a castle from here.
Here it comes. Oh, yeah! That was cool. Hope you saw that.
That's a robot. It's not a real person.
It is.
We caught it. That's exactly what the U.S. economy looks like. It just did, and it's about to do.
I mean, it was so
People
high.
with robots.
Yo, my Shopify stock went up. I made like $600 today off of Shopify stock. I forgot to mention that. Shopify went up like 10%. This shit was crazy.
Yeah, H was talking about the analysis a little while ago, and that Robinhood you actually just touched on a lot of what is controlling everything, the interest rates. Man,
Why
this
is
is something
Shopify up so high? I made almost $300, $600 on this shit. Because I have
Oh, yeah,
almost
look at it.
$200.
Yeah, H has got the chart pulled up in top of the screen there for Shopify. But I want to see where Robinhood falls on if the Feds are going to reverse course soon or not. Because I've been calling for a Fed course reversal for a while now, and I feel like the last couple of rate hikes they got a little bit lighter, and I think this next one they may go to that full 5% and just do a 0.5, or they're going to just not do it. And this big pump so far in the markets, although you said the NASDAQ crashed at the end of the day. Joseph, are you all right, man? Did you fall and hurt yourself?
No. I was eating hot soup and it went down the wrong.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. Mute yourself while you're eating the hot soup and burning your throat out. I'm sure it's already tore up from being with Grant Cardone for a day anyway. So,
yeah. So, like I was saying, like the Grant Cardone and all those old guys, like they made their wealth in an industry in which we saw, like, if you were able to reach like that first $1 million or that first $10 million, that you got a more profitable interest rate on your debt, to where your debt financing costs continued to get lower and lower and lower. And matter of fact, Grant Cardone, he speaks a lot about how it was so easy, so cheap to take on debt, that as long as you made sure that you were spending that debt on something that was generating revenue and you had enough revenue to cover your debt, that you could just perpetually take out more and more debt.
Can I ask a question?
Good.
How can I pull out debt? Because like I don't have any debt. So like say if I want to like invest in a business, I don't have a LLC. How can I get debt in my personal name but less risk?
First, do you have any credit for someone to trust you enough to handle debt?
Yeah, I do have a credit card. I have two of them.
Yeah, you have a credit card, but there's some other factors in there. What's the history? Have you been consistent making payments? Blah blah blah. There's a lot that people consider before they hand you or put debt on your shoulders. And except for like student loans, they don't care. They'll give you all the debt you need.
Huh?
debt to income ratio, DTI, that's the biggest one. How much income are you making versus your actual debt? And they do not want your utilization over 30%, which means if you have, like, say, $1,000 in credit lines, you do not want to be over 30% of that $5,000, or you're going to have a lot harder time getting money. But yeah,
And
you
then
just
what's
got
the
to
point
start.
in marketing?
I want
What-
to give Robin Hood a chance to answer that too. That was his question, I believe, to Robin Hood.
So in my case, like if you're wanting to get debt, I'm sorry guys, I kind of relate everything back to the same thing. But like let's say you did want to get some type of debt. What kind of productive income do you have? Like going into a situation in which we are seeing this new regime of interest rate hiking in perpetual, possibly interest rate hiking. You want to be able to make sure that anything that you do is productive. Like that's going to be the next 20 or 30 years in the United States as we begin to see the economy falter. How productive can you be? What industry are you in that is productive? And only then, once you've shown that you can be productive at a high interest rate, will they be willing to extend you out more debt, because you're able to show that yes, even though interest rates are high, I'm still able to be a productive person in the economy. And that's what they're looking for. If the interest rates are high, if the interest rates are low, what can you do to increase the nation's GDP? If you can't do anything to do that, then they're not going to give you any type of debt to work with.
I had a question for you on that. Would you mind specifying when you say being productive, you're not, it sounds like you're not referring to efficiency. It sounds like you're not referring to like content creation. It sounds like how much are you generating in terms of the global economy type thing, like actual
Yes,
profit.
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay,
so,
just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, so when it comes to that, like there's a number of different ways that you can be productive in the new economy. Now, first of all, you have to find your niche. Coming into the next 20, 40 years, we're going to be in a natural resource niche. What does that mean? Okay, do you own any type of asset that is generating a resource? Do you own water rights? Do you own mineral rights? Do you own natural resources? Do you own wood? Do you own land? What do you own that can be produced into a higher value added product? If you're able to do that, then you're able to get more favorable debt. Because what happens is, say like me, myself, I've gone ahead and I've purchased 300 acres worth of land. It's my plan to turn that land into productive farmland. And I'm not saying that I'm going to do this because I don't really like debt. But if I wanted to, it should put me in a more favorable position to get extended credit or get extended debt because of the profitability of my farmland. It's a natural resource. Let's say we're in 2030 and we are short on a bunch of natural resources because of X, Y, and Z that's happened in the economy. Well, because I own profitable farmland, they're going to be more comfortable with giving me debt or credit.
Wait, I have another question regarding. Well, I mean, so like I totally agree with where you're coming from, but maybe would you mind kind of elaborating more in depth on why? Or I guess what's a better question? How do they measure like the
are you a net consumer or are you a net producer of economic products or just products in general?
I want to add this too on real quick too, is what he's talking about, especially for agriculture. The government's giving out grants for that stuff, like not even just loans, but you can get grants for farms and all that. And chickens, I have chickens of my own, and those eggs are like, mute yourself, Joseph. You're rolling around with your teddy bear. Thank you.
Wait, so like what I'm getting at is that in terms like from the legal aspect, and things like landmarks or historical value or productive generative value that the government places on a property or whatever. Can you elaborate in terms of like for
Well,
the
it's like business versus personal, basically, is what it's talking about. Like business credit, you can get a whole lot more credit if you're showing a profitable business, and this is where the micro macro comes in, and people disagree with me on this, but I think there's no difference between micro and macro because individually you're your own economy. Your money going in, money going out, your resources getting traded times your biggest valuable asset. You're trading for money, so you're essentially your own economy. But because you're one individual, most individuals aren't putting out that much profit or putting out that much money above their living costs. They're already in debt. You look at the U.S. debt clock, the average debt for the U.S. American citizens is 260 something thousand. But then you look at businesses, they have a whole separate credit score. It's a whole different ball game there. So you're able to get, when you show that you're a profitable business, you're able to get a lot bigger loans and bigger credit card lines and lines of credit and all this type of stuff. And then plus, that's what I was saying earlier in the show when these companies, when we're talking about the tax thing, a lot of these big companies, these big people that they're trying to hit with this consumer tax thing, it's not going to affect them because they're already in debt on purpose to avoid taxes. So like a lot of companies are actually profitable, but they operate in debt because they don't have to pay taxes because you can't tax debt. So that's why this has been a thing for such a long time, and it's got us where we're at now. Really, is all the debt that's been given out to businesses and individuals. And that I think is where he's talking about where the interest rates are going to make it, kind of depend on the resources, like physical assets, which I agree 100% on everything he's saying about this, is where that's going to help people to get money. But I want to throw two things in the conversation. We now have crypto-backed loans where banks and exchanges have, big cryptos giving out pretty big crypto loans and stuff. That kind of changes the ball game a little bit. There's no credit checks. There's none of this previous system. How does that change everything or affect everything? And then my second question to you also, Ramahu, would be if the US dollar was to really, really tank in purchasing power, would any of this debt actually even matter at that point?
He's actually about to bring that up. I asked the HH trader over here to bring up the value of the dollar over the last since about the 1940s, and I'm not sure if you guys.
What's that ticker being for the dollar?
No, not that.
DXY.
No, it's not. Go back over to the thing there, and you're actually going to bring up the economy.
But that, if you want to bring up the dollar, you'd bring up the DXY. That's your purchasing power.
Yes, but we're not. That's in relation to all the other fiat currencies, which is a floating measure. I'm going to go with more of a harder measure.
Okay, we got Fed funds. We got, which one are you looking for?
It should be the.
What's the name of it? I can just type it in.
Purchasing power. Try that. Purchasing consumer United States. Here, go to this one. Consumer price index for all urban consumer goods. The second.
Now you're aware they changed the way the CPI works back in 1990, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how are you reading this chart with that information in mind?
Purchasing power of the consumer dollar, U.S. city average goods. So let me see if this is the right way. Let me actually bring up mine.
Yeah. Share your screen if you got it. Share your screen.
This is gonna be real inaccurate if you're looking at city averages because that's the whole problem with the voting system and everything. Like California has massive population in their big cities. That's going to sway this chart.
Yeah, bring yours up.
What is it? Consumer price index. It's not that one. Dang it! I haven't looked at it in a minute. It's probably.
There's an inflation rate chart. If that's you talking about that one, that's a
No,
spike straight up.
no, it's the direct it's the direct count of the DXY over the last 100 years, I think. Let me see. I'm sorry, it's been a minute since I actually looked at it, so I don't have it here. God dang it. Sentiment. Oh, can't believe I lost this thing. Sorry, guys.
I can't imagine the chart's much different than the DXY though.
It's
It's just
very, very different because you see the value of it since the 1940s, since they started tracking it, and basically it goes straight down to at the moment like the index can't go below zero, so it's sitting right there on at zero, and it's basically just the purchasing power. So, oh.
right, but the DXY shows that as well. I mean, it's the same downtrend for the last 80 years since 1940. I mean, it's the same thing. I'm not trying to go against you at all here. I'm just you're preaching the same thing I've been preaching. So that's what I'm saying. Just we can't find another ticker. Just use the DXY. I'm with you on the
Okay,
US dollar.
I got it. It was the purchasing power. It's just you didn't go out long enough. Let me see.
Can you share your screen for that chart or send a link to H or pull up?
No,
Yeah.
you can just pull it up. Just
I'm
hit the
about to share my
share
screen.
screen button.
Okay, well that's what I was asking. You know, calm down, H man. Don't kill me.
Bro, I'm trying to see the charts, bro. You know I'm addicted, bro. Show me the charts, bro.
Speaking of charts, where's iRooster at, man? That's the chart. I don't even know what to call him at this point. Golly. Okay, so this is the.
It's the purchasing power index.
I'm just trying to put this in my trading view so I can look at this and compare it.
All right, guys.
That's for
So
zeros, I
this is-
think. Go
What
ahead.
did
Go
you
ahead.
say?
No, you're good.
Okay,
Good.
so this is basically the consumer purchasing power index for all consumers, purchasing power of the consumer dollar and the U.S. city average. So since the 1914s, this is pretty much where the dollar was, where the dollar was worth a dollar basically. And ever since then, we've been on a downward trend as we've hit different economic stacks, right? So, of course, we had World War I, World War II. We had a whole bunch of wars throughout that. We had the Nixon go off the debt or go off the gold standard in the 70s. That's about right here. And what we see is that over time, the dollar is continuing to lose purchasing power. And if we actually go into the last 2 years, we can see that it's actually dropped the quickest. So the overall purchasing power of the dollar has dropped the quickest that it has in the last 2 years over, say, like the last maybe since 1914. Really, that's been the quickest drop. So what we're looking at in this chart is the inflation of all goods denominated in dollars, if you guys understand what that means. To further illustrate that, if we go over to the food, let's see, U.S., United States, food inflation year over year. No, not year over year. CPI, food.
I think it has that U.S.
You're rugged, bro.
Events, retail, events, consumer price. Okay, here it is. Consumer price index for all urban consumers, food, and U.S. city average.
Yeah, see, again, this is the problem with these charts, though. They're going off a city average. That's gonna throw some inaccuracies in there. If one state that's got a huge population is doing way better, and their food prices are a lot lower, That's going to bring that. I mean, overall, I mean, you can clearly see food prices have been going up. But I mean, I look at the wheat futures and sugar and soy. They've all been going up too. What,
Mhm.
what do you look at all those as well, or you just look at these charts? I'm just trying to figure out your way you're doing this a technical analysis.
I don't look at the individual charts. I pretty much just look at this one. I do understand that the CPI has been changed overall, and that's why I'm willing to look at the changed versions, because I ultimately know, like, if we do go back to the previous way in which it was calculated, that if it's this high now,
Oh yeah,
post calculation, then pre calculation or before, it's going to be a lot higher.
yeah. The true CPI is definitely a lot higher, and that's what I was asking you. Do you think we're going to see the Feds reverse course because they can't raise interest rates anymore, right? Nobody's buying bonds exactly because of this reason here, what you're showing us, the US dollar being at its all-time lowest purchasing power. So there's
So if we
kind of,
hmm? What were you saying?
oh, I was saying with the interest rates and the Federal Reserve controlling the interest rates, and we know the CPI is actually higher because of the true CPI. Do you think the Feds are going to continue to raise interest rates, or do you think that they reverse course? Because like you just showed with the dollar, the purchasing power is at all-time lows, so other countries aren't buying our bonds or treasury notes. They're actually sending them back. A lot of countries have been decreasing their U.S. dollar holdings. So do you see a reversal happen by the Feds, or you think they keep raising interest rates?
Can't they just change the game?
What do you mean by that? I mean, they can, but what do you think they're going to change the game to?
Well, what's the huge talk right now?
Of course, it's CBDCs, but does that change the game, or does that make them easier to play their game that they already have going?
I say it's a game changer. When you tie into CBDCs into like what they can do as far as with the blockchain, it's a game changer. Just as like it was a game changer back here in the and then I guess whenever we had World War I, World War II, Nixon, all of those were changing of the game, and we just seen what happens when they decide to change the game. Like they can keep the same system in place, but they just change the mechanics of it. And it just so happens that because of all the technological capabilities that we have now, that the game is really going to be changed.
Right. So are you saying this from a bullish standpoint on America or a bearish standpoint? Like I'm trying to get like where you're leaning towards on all of your analysis here. What do you think is going to be happening with the U.S. dollar versus the digital yuan for world reserve currency in the next 2 years?
So this goes back into my case about being productive. I believe we go to a world in which productivity is the only thing that matters. Productivity is the only thing that matters. Resources are the only thing that matters. Yes, we still deal with currency and different. We deal with CBDCs, we deal with wands, we deal with dollars. All those are still going to be in existence, but they're only going to be there to substitute a physical backing. And that physical backing is going to be in what? Natural resources. So what I'm saying is, if you're looking to prosper in the future, start grabbing your natural resources.
I agree with that, but that didn't really answer my question. Like, do you think so? You think the digital yuan is not going to be reserve currency, or the U.S. dollar is not going to be?
Well, again, like the form in which you use to denominate the physical backing really doesn't matter. What matters is the physical backing.
Right, but you're talking about geolocation. Like if your currency is based on your geolocation, whether it's fiat or not, that's going to matter. So the China digital yuan being the world reserve currency, they'll have the same power the U.S. has had to manipulate all the economic prices and resources. But that's what I'm saying. Do you think we're going to see that at all, or because like I hear you with the productive and the assets, and I agree with you. I think where we take power from the GDPs and get a balance instead of having a one world reserve currency, we should just have a bunch of different currencies that all operate like we're going towards. But they shouldn't. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, because you're actually making me think. So.
Okay, let's see. Where was that? Oh yeah, the digital yuan. Yeah. So tokenizing assets, that is where I think we take that GDP away from China, from these places, and we don't have one world reserve currency. Like tokenize, like you can already get tokens that are backed by gold and silver. The matrix or whatever by the time this is all settled. That's like the crazy concern, right? Like I don't think we can just be productive and all of a sudden all that previous power is just going to come to us. Like this is a war when we put it that way, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a natural resource grab. But to that point, like I really don't know what's going to happen with like the individual currencies themselves. Like, yes, I do believe like all the currencies are going to go to zero, but like let's say something like this, right? Where we're looking at the United States, they're let's say the entire world is raising their interest rates, right? So you really have no safe haven for cheap debt because everywhere debt is going up. The only way that you have safe haven from cheap or something analogous to cheap debt is what you're able to turn the currencies into, going back to natural resources. So if we have a multipolar world in which one side of the world decides, hey guys, we're going to go fiat, we're going to go data, we're going to go CBDCs, then that I see that being the Western nations. Whereas what we're seeing with BRICS is going more towards a physical backing. So it's going to be up to you whether or not you want to keep your money in terms of like a digital form, or do you want to keep your money in a physical form, East versus West. Now, I look at both of them as saying like, well, I generally don't like any direction that they're going, but if I had to choose, I would rather want my money to be in a physical matter rather than a digital matter. But it all goes back to like what we're seeing in terms of, oh, we're starting to change the overall way that the economy works in general. Whereas again, the Eastern nations, I see them as being more physical, and the Western nations I see going digital. And there's benefits to both. It seems like the Western nations, they'll have more idea of what is going on in the economy in a more pinpoint accuracy sense. But I also don't see where the Eastern nations don't say like, hey, that's a pretty good idea to have.
Why would you think that America doing something would make the other countries, or say America has a better pinpoint than Eastern countries on economics?
Because good question. If they're operating off the same data points.
Well, I'm just thinking of time, just by time, like America's like 400 or 500 years old. You know, there's been thousands of years of Chinese and Japanese dynasties that have been in wars, had economies, all that stuff. I would say they would have a way better pinpoint than our newbies. our newbie selves out here in America. But also the other thing is, real quick to throw this in there too. I mean, you're right about the Eastern nations going all physical. Their gold charts have been going up. They're got 36% of the oil the BRICS nations do. But they are also going digital. China's already got the digital yuan that's been out. India just released a digital e-rupee a few weeks ago. So they're going digital and physical at the same time. That's where I'm seeing America so bearish, is like we're going more digital. We're not really going physical. And that's, I mean, that's we're half as we're, let's see, how's the way to put it? The rest of the world is trying to eat the the half-assed, exactly. The rest of the world is trying to eat the whole pie while we're over here trying to cut us a slice, and that's not going to work in this type of cycle change. I think you probably are a cycle researcher, I'd imagine. I've heard you say a few things about cycles.
I see like the Western nations, their form of currency is going to be tied more towards is basically the same thing, going straight back to the natural resources. I do know like there's been some concerning things to actually come out of the United States regarding the direction in which they're attempting to go in terms of creating a value backed off of information, digital data inputs. I've seen where they're starting to talk about the bioeconomy, biology, to where they want to be able to quantify the value amount to use specifically on how much is water worth to you.
Yeah, that's when it gets scary.
And that's where, like, a couple of weeks ago, I might be able to research this really quick. Let me see.
Because that kind of goes back to the. Oh, go ahead, H. That's what I was just going to say. Goes back to what you were talking about with this tax, consumer tax.
That's what I was about to say. We were talking about the consumer tax, where if they push through the IRS and get that abolishment that they've been trying to, when you go into stores, you'll see that price increase, but it'll be a point where you're like, okay, water is worth more than whatever, like whatever example that you were giving. You'd be like, okay, I'm gonna budget more for water this time. I'm gonna do this for this. And with the taxes being handled in store, basically, I mean, it's gonna be one of those things. Once you make the purchase, it's over. And I don't even know. One thing I was thinking about, how are refunds gonna work? Like, do they refund like you get a bad TV or something? Would they be like, oh no, you paid the taxes, it's over with. We ain't worried about that no more.
Have you guys seen
what?
Have you guys seen the credit card that MasterCard has that tracks your carbon credits?
Carbon credits?
Yes.
Okay.
So when you talk about taxes, this is what I believe is going to be the new form of tax, which is going to be a carbon credit. Basically, how much productivity, how much of the global productivity are you consuming, or does your consumption create? I can't find it because I don't have any of this stuff really saved, because I don't look at this constantly. But either way, when we look at what's been coming out of the WEF, they're already talking about how they are starting to release some form of carbon credit tracking, to where if you do not have enough carbon credits to make a purchase, even though you may have enough to make the purchase, it's all depending upon that carbon credit system. So when we start to talk about UBI, I believe that's where our UBI is going to come into play. We'll be giving a set amount of carbon credits that gives us the minimum that we're able to purchase from the economy. And if we want to purchase more, then we have to find a way to be more productive. So that productivity can come from growing things, probably carbon sequestration or anything like that. But the reason why I say like I'm really focused in on my natural resources is because I see in which if we are going to go to this carbon credit system, I need to have a way in which I have the ability to actually get carbon credits on a monthly basis or on a daily basis. I actually have to be able to constantly create those credits if I want to be a consumer of items above what I'm given with my UBI.
So you are getting prepared for it by following what they're saying, basically, trying to get ready for the carbon credits.
Basically, yes. So
Why? Why?
They control the world, don't they?
Yeah, but you don't think with the decentralization and this technology we have that we could take any GDP, take any power back? Like the decentralization, is that a hopium dream?
Not necessarily. I look at both of them as happening in the same situation. Like we may be able to create an economy in which we don't rely on the carbon credits as a closed economy. But anytime that we want to venture outside of that closed economy, then it would require some carbon credits. But it seems like they're making the system to where and if we travel, if we drive our cars, they'll be able to track where we drive our cars. They'll be able to do this and do that. And it's all taking place. Like both of these conversations are being had at the same time, in which you're going to see economic freedom with blockchain and cryptocurrencies and this and that. But we're also going to see a higher level of taxation be possible with it as well. So I'm actually
playing both sides of the fence. Yeah, you try to play it safest way, diversify across both sides.
Yeah. Like that's why I'm looking out so long. Like I'm only 28. 2050 is going to be a good age for me. What is that? 30 years away. Yeah. So I'll be 50 by then, and by then, at the age of 50, you're usually at your maximum in which you'll be able to generate an income or whatnot, just be at your maximum productivity. So
I'm saying, hold on, that statistic, you reach your max profitability at age 50. I mean, how do you explain Justin Bieber or the Olsen twins? That's one of those statistics that I'm on. It's straight bullshit. That doesn't make any sense. That's 20 examples of people.
What I mean by that is like at your cycle in life, like I see like 50 being that point in your life in which if you're going to be sound come your 70s and 80s, you can usually spot that by your 50s.
So what I'm getting at here is like, especially for young entrepreneurs, you are preparing for your life at age 50. Which you're 28, right? So that's 22 years from now. So did I do that math right? 22 years from now?
What is it, 23?
23, okay, 23.
27, what is that, 27, 7, 8, 9, 10? Yeah, it's 27.
You're 28 minus 50?
I was just saying 2050 is the overall year, so it's really
the 2050. Oh, okay, but you're saying you were going to be 50 in 2050, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the math I was talking about. Sorry, we got a little miscommunication on the math there. So what are you doing in the meantime until you get super rich?
Getting super rich.
So your target goal is to get rich as soon as possible, but you're like setting yourself up for 2050.
Yeah, I look at it as being like one step at a time. Like, what am I doing one step at a time eventually to get to 2050? So that one step at a time is So when I was younger, it was crypto. I kind of learned my ropes, got my money, and then I went to land. So I'll be dealing with land and crypto for the foreseeable future until I start to develop. I start to see another need develop.
Yeah, you just throw a bunch of chickens on that 300 acres you got, man. And you'll have plenty of money. That's all you gotta do. Farms right now are in such high demand, especially actual real farms, because all the other stuff has proteins and MSGs and SMGs and AK-47s in them. You know, I mean, you get a hot dog with a little grenade in it. Like, it's crazy out here right now.
Oh, hey, I got some. I got some for your grenade, your little food. Where is it? Dang it, I probably got to go to Google. Google not showing up. There it is.
And Connor, you've been on the stage for a while now. If you want to hop in the conversation with anybody else, feel free to hop in. I'm just giving Robin Hood a little pushback here just because I like to challenge when I hear people talking this type of economic stuff. And like I said, a lot of stuff I agree with you on. So don't take any of my dickheadedness as me being personal or anything.
Oh, never. Like I love back and forth conversation because it does make you think.
Yeah, I just want to say, guys, it's always great to, listen to people who are talking about things that need to be talked about. But, I'm just doing work in the background. I believe more in action than just talking about it. But yeah, at the same time, I'm learning from y'all about all this stuff. That's all I say.
Yeah. I appreciate that, especially the sideways little slap in there, the stop talking, do some action, do something, you lazy bitches.
Very much so. I know. Dang it! I forgot what I was about to. Oh yeah, I love the little back and forth because like you need to be challenged at some point in your life. You need to be challenged every day on what you believe. It either fortifies you or it makes you think a little bit more about your position. So it's always good to have somebody. Hey, well, you're kind of messed up about this, but like, so say like this, right? I did a post on Reddit about NFTs, and I was looking to have more of a constructive conversation around it. And what I got was
Reddit's a good place for constructive. Sorry, go ahead.
You're good. And the conversation was just attack. I'm like, is anybody going to like offer some kind of like constructive pushback here? But it was like none. So it's like attacking is always bad, but there's a way you could attack it as constructive. And if you're attacking in a constructive way, then that's a nice attack to have. That's what I'm saying. So I do appreciate you like challenging me on these like situations here.
Oh yeah, and challenge me back as well anytime. Call me out, and then if I get on camera, you can make fun of my hair, my crazy nose, anything, man. Like, I love to get roasted. It's fun.
Very much so. But going into that grenade in your hot dog. Here's that grenade in the hot dog.
See, I wasn't kidding.
Nope. Scientists studying the potential of leafy greens as homegrown mRNA factories. This is one of my biggest pushes behind becoming more self-sufficient. Seeing what's happened over the last 2 years with these mRNA vaccines and how they are seemingly ready to push this technology, it's going to become a situation in which you have to understand where you're getting your food from. And
real quick before you go further, for those who don't know what mRNA actually is, you want to explain that for them? This is the shocking part.
I don't know too much about it. I haven't read that in
depth. Okay. I can tell you that real quick. So it started a while back with CRISPR Therapeutics. It was a company in the stock market. CRISPR has been working on gene editing technology, and they had a device, the CRISPR device, that would go down into your DNA, clip the bad strands of the DNA for whatever it was. They've cured Alzheimer's with it. Was it Alzheimer's? No, it was diabetes. And then it just reattaches the good strands of the DNA. So right after COVID came out, CRISPR spiked like crazy. And then all of a sudden, all the big companies started coming out with the mRNA vaccines, and they're all the gene editing vaccines. It's the CRISPR technology. So that it literally is a little machine that goes into your DNA and cuts it and changes it. And they've been doing this in China as well. They have glow in the dark puppy dogs. Their fur is glow in the dark. It's like a lot of stuff. If you dive in the gene editing world, they're way far ahead than people actually realize.
Yeah, so what they're doing with those mRNA devices is they're actually taking a virus RNA. So what they're able to do with those RNA, from my readings, is just like a virus. Like, say like this, right? Millions and millions of years ago, there was a virus that changed the genealogy of mammals, where we got the mammals that gave birth in pouches, and we are, let's say it like this. You had the egg, and then from the egg, from the chickens laying the eggs, you had mammals that gave birth, or not gave birth, but they were impregnated inside of themselves. So that's where you start to go into marsupials and what majority of the mammals do, which is gestate inside of a womb. They're saying that switch happened thanks to a virus, and that virus allowed that changeover from laying an egg to actually having a womb or having a pouch. So what we're doing is we're introducing these viruses into our DNA, and they're changing the overall structure of our DNA itself. And that way, whatever they're doing with our DNA, it's actually being passed down as a permanent change within the human genealogical, I think it is, code. So really in the future, what I see happening with these digital vaccine passes, they're not digital vaccine passes. What they are is it's a way of verifying that you are an alternative human, or you're a human 2.0. Because right now, if you receive an mRNA injection, your genes are different from somebody who hasn't. And that's where I think we're going. Or that's not where I think we're going. That's where we actually are. And now they're saying that, oh, well, they received so much pushback from making it known that they were doing it with a vaccine, to now they just want to be able to do it directly with the food. That way they don't have to tell you, or if they do tell you, it's going to be on that little nutrition area, MNRA ingredient or whatnot.
Yep, you nailed it. That is what is. I didn't know they were going towards the food yet. I hadn't seen that, so thank you for bringing that up. But I figured if the vaccine thing didn't work, then it was going to be something else. Which they got. I mean, they got a lot of people with them vaccines, and this is the thing that proves it, right? Like, when you're talking about editing genes, you can't just make that happen permanently one time. You have to keep on sending that the either CRISPR device or however they're doing it with the actual viruses a few times before it sticks. So that's why at first it was just one, then it was another, then it was a booster, then another booster, then another booster, because it has to get permanently set in your genes, and everybody's genes and everything's a little bit different, right? So yeah, now it's going to be in the food. Well, there's your weekly analysis for the market this week. Next week, mRNA corn futures is what we're going to be looking at.
Like I said, get your personal supply of food together.
So I like to add a little. Oh my bad, I've got it in my hand. But yeah, if I can, I like to add a little caveat. I noticed y'all were talking about how the vaccine is changing mRNA and possibly changing up the underlying DNA sequence. Is that what y'all were talking about?
Yeah, pretty much that, and they're putting it in the food now. That was the article Robinhood pulled up. They're trying to put the mRNA stuff in all the grown.
Not trying; they're successfully already doing
so,
it.
Okay, so about that, So this is kind of like a study on epigenetics. It doesn't actually change the underlying DNA sequence. What it does is that it kind of just, it's like controls gene expressions, right? So even if those gene expressions are changed, which you'll see it physically happen to you, like if you were to turn off the gene expression that codes for, like what y'all were talking about. Forgot the name of the disease y'all were talking about. But
Yeah,
anyway,
diabetes. Yeah, or the glow in the dark dogs. Yeah.
still be passed down. It's just that they're just changing up the sequence within you, not the DNA sequence, but just the gene expression itself. But I don't know as relevant. I just thought, I just add that in, just so everybody knows a little bit
I
more
do.
about it.
I do know, or I do remember reading early releases from the Pfizer test. I think that was early 2021 or summer 2021, I believe. And it actually, they had these studies that showed that it actually did get passed down to the subsequent generations because the female the rats that were injected with the mRNA devices when they got impregnated, it turned out that the rats that were being born had skeletal deformations in them. So it did actually go into the next generation.
H. Is this playing God? Is this humans playing God? This goes to my theory where humans get so smart in a society that they're actually being really dumb. Because I've also heard they've been able to successfully breed a velociraptor. It hatched it and it died about 2 weeks later. I think this is some of the
This
most
goes down
dangerous.
to that. Like, it's not if we can do it, it's if we should do it, right? Like, okay, cool, you can do something, but should you be doing it? Like, should we be bringing velociraptors back to life?
I mean, I see a pretty piece of candy in the store. I mean, I can steal it. Should I?
Right, exactly. And in the room chat, I just dropped the CRISPR Therapeutics website because it's a little bit different than the mRNA stuff. It's similar, but like they actually have a literal device. It's not a virus or anything. If you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. It was very good performing stock during 2020, during the whole COVID thing.
Yeah, what I remember about the CRISPR is like that was a specific gene editing. I don't think they were changing the expressions of the genes. They were just mainly like taking, cutting, slicing, and stuff.
Yeah,
So they,
that's
I
CRISPR.
think they're yeah, I think they were like changing the order, but everything stayed practically the same. Whereas with the mRNA, they're looking at like completely, hey, turn this expression on at this time, turn it off at this time, turn these two on to create this, and then turn it off at that point if you don't want to create that anymore.
Now, when thinking about this too, since we got a few of you in here that know quite a bit about this, that way of
Please
the
speak up because I
expression.
don't know anything. I just read a lot.
Well, I just know mostly about CRISPR, and then when I saw the mRNA stuff, I looked into it a bit, and I was like, oh God, this is the same thing as CRISPR, just different way of doing it, but same thing, pretty much. With the what did you call it? The reflections. What did he say? I forgot what word he used. But anyway, like from my understanding, when you turn off that gene or that piece of DNA, they don't know for sure what that can also turn on because they're all connected, right? So like the side effects of this type of stuff has not had that long of history behind it. Like that's clearly, I mean, CRISPR was here way before COVID. So this research has been going on along at least 10, 20 years that we know of. But on like a long-term scale of all the medical history we have, gene editing is not something that's been in there. So we really don't know what long-term effects this has, from my understanding. Would that be correct or sounds correct? I don't know.
Well, I think that's 100% what it is we have no idea what we can do, and we don't know. Like, say for example, maybe like if you can jump high or something like that, and then you turn that off, maybe your thought process would be different, and maybe now it unlocks something else in you or in your body. And I mean that's like simplistic and like oversimplifying it, but
Maybe Grant Cardone is one of these human 2.0s.
well, maybe.
Do we put this re-release of the episode out as hashtag human 2.0s and web 3.0s? The human 2.0 is a new term to me, so I'm just getting a little kick out of that one. I haven't heard that one yet. But this is like, this is the same shit like Hitler talked about and stuff, having superhumans and stuff. Like this is why I say like, and he's not the first one. It's just probably the most. Well, I don't know if that's even the most recent example. And for those who don't know, Hitler actually got all his ideas of eugenics from the U.S. government, what they did to Native Americans. Go ahead, Robin Hodopoly.
Yeah, you're like totally right about that. From what I remember reading, the Nazis only felt comfortable doing what they were doing after they saw the United States doing what it was doing. So that had to go to what they were doing to Black people, what they were doing to Native Americans. So they only felt comfortable with that after seeing and studying what the United States was doing. But when it comes to what they're doing with the code or the genes here, I think it's deserves a much broader look, because they're not only talking about changing our genes themselves, but with the edible vaccines, this seems like something that has to constantly be done and constantly reinforced. With that, they're also attempting to change the overall way that the Earth works itself. I know in Mexico, they just or near Mexico, I think in like Baja Desert. I'm not sure where that is, that Mexico or California, but they attempted to do something regarding dimming the local atmosphere around that. And what we're seeing is they're not only attempting to change the human being, but they're attempting to change the food that the human being eats, while also changing the very environment that the human being lives in. So it's getting pretty weird with what we're able to do at the moment. And this is all coming up around being able to track people, being able to curtail their purchases. So it's like we're being attacked on all ends here, in way we live, how we breed, where we live. So my real question is, what are we preparing for? Because at this point, if an alien was coming down from the sky and said that they're taking over the Earth, I would not be very surprised, seeing as we're already starting to change everything about the Earth.
Can you imagine an alien walking into the White House right now and Biden just turn around and start shaking his tentacle? Like, oh, hey, how you doing?
I mean, like, you cannot shock me at this point, seeing as what we're doing at the moment.
With the weather thing, we've been talking about that a lot too. Like, India's been controlling their weather because of the droughts and stuff. But yeah, I mean, this is what I've been preaching nonstop. Is like, this is an actual war, and this decentralized part of blockchain and Web3 that I'm an advocate for. We're losing this war badly. You know, something I keep telling people in these Twitter spaces and everything, who are all just trying to sell, you know, PFPs of NFT profile pictures to each other. You know, that's not doing any damage or doing anything to change the system currently. We're not, when everybody is fighting, it's like Finding Nemo with all the damn seagulls right there trying to get the one piece of bread out there. Mine. Meanwhile, the government's just watching us. They're like, look at these dumb seagulls out here just eating each other up, and it's not anything new to humans. We've been doing this forever on skin color, location, uh, eye color, all types of different things. But we're doing the same thing in Web3. It's like the same cycles repeating over and over again. So that's where I'm like, I really want to see a decentralization. I don't want to be a part of this nonsense. But at the same time, we need more awareness. We need people like you, Robin Hood and Connor and Dallas and young boy Joseph Fresh. We need all you out here, fighting the front lines. But I do get your position, Robin Hood, of playing the fence and playing it safe. But I can't do it. I'm on the full decentralized side. I want decentralized everything, all tokenized assets.
Bro, I don't even show IC on things. Like, you're not even getting my ID. Like,
yeah,
I'm not about it. I don't care. I know that we're probably already lost this fight because we let them get their hands in the pot at all. We should have been like saying no for everything. Doesn't matter if regulations are better. We'll figure that out. Like all that shit, we should have just said no. Keep your hands out of it, even if it meant not being able to go into US dollar directly.
Yeah, education over regulation.
Dang, Fresh. You sound like you don't like America, man. You should move to France.
I'm not in America, man.
Oh, where are you from?
Canada, which is not any better. Though I'm not saying that like it's a good thing. We're China right now.
One of the bright spots that we do have is France, because look at how France treats their democracy. I don't know what it is about the French culture, but the government continues to hit them, and the French, they hit back, and they hit back hard. Even though they may lose, they continue to fight, and this has been the case from France for since history began.
That's because France never wins, right? So they have no choice. They have to just keep fighting. Eventually they'll win one, Like, not trying to be an asshole, but shit.
Hey, but I mean, as long as you put up the good fight, that's
I agree. I respect it. But I mean, listen, I still think maybe they're due for a win,
Weren't they the ones protesting, throwing bathtubs and sinks and stuff out the windows of their apartments and stuff in the street? I think that was France. There was one country, man. They were really they thought there was protesting in America. Nah, they were throwing full on sinks. The expression, they threw everything but the kitchen sink. No, they threw everything and the kitchen sink.
Oh man, they were really hard. That's one thing that we don't do here. We don't protest. I know. Recently, France, they raised the retirement age, which is basically death, and their retirement age is now 67. Whereas you come to America, I think that has been the retirement age. So it's nobody put up any type of fight regarding that. But even though France may lose this fight, and it does seem like they have lost, they're not afraid to put up that battle.
Yeah, the only thing with looking at France though is France has never been a dominant power like the U.S. has, or China or India, anything like that. So it's hard to say. They have a much smaller population. France's full population is probably less than California, and also their diversity. Because there's a lot of economists who always like to point to the Nordic countries, Norway, Sweden, and all that, to try to use the more socialist, the Marxist, more type of economists. That's where they like to point to. But the funny thing is, those all have very free market type,
very small populations as well.
But yes, the very small populations, exactly. So, and not only just the small population, the type of population, it's not a whole mixing pot like America is. You have all nothing but maybe a few other countries sprinkled in, but most of those countries have a high population of people who born, raised there forever. So they all kind of agree with each other as it is. That's one of the biggest problems. Well, I don't want to say problems. I want to say it's the biggest hurdle for America, and why I think we're losing to China partly is because we're too busy fighting each other over our own differences instead of coming together. Like you said, we don't protest in America. I think we do protest. We just protest against the wrong people. We protest against each other instead of where it belongs, where the actual, fire belongs at, the whole government. But that's the hurdle we face. Like we got to come together. Because one thing you said, like I'm not an American hater. I love America, but I can be patriotic and also be pissed off at my government. So, like, that's when I talk about economics and all this, I sound like I'm being real aggressive towards them. It's because I am aggressive towards them, but not America itself. Like, this is a great country, great resources, beautiful lands, a lot of wonderful people. I mean, I'm a foodie, so being able to get all types of different food right here in Tennessee and East Tennessee, that's amazing, right? So, like, man, I don't know. I went on a rant, and now I'm just thinking about food, so I lost track. But yeah, if anybody else wants to hop in there, or have you looked up all the mRNA stocks, the food companies that are putting that in there yet? Those ticker symbols. May see some pumps in the market. H. No H.
Oh,
He's
thank God! I thought
disappeared.
you were calling me. I zoned out. I'm like, oh shit! I hope you didn't just call on me.
Oh man, I know everybody's zoned out in the room. I just went on a long rant and then got lost in my
I'm
own.
here.
That's how I know.
I'm here.
Okay.
Waiting on H.
Well, I know when I zoned out, that's too long of a rant right there. If I'm zoning out, I know everybody else is.
Nah, I was listening to you, man.
Bro, I have
you did good.
ADHD.
Yeah. What'd you say? You have a mRNA thing going on? You ate some corn from the mRNA Donalds?
You know what? I'll tell you something, bro. Being in Canada, I probably already have, to be honest.
Is your igloos made of the mRNA? No, I'm just kidding. I
mRNA
keep getting
ice.
fresh. I keep getting fresh hard time to say this igloo thing. Tell just real quick, just for a little comedic relief. Tell what some Americans have asked you about being
So
in
like
living in.
when I used to play SOCOM on online on PS2, every time we would face American people, they would always ask me things like, "How do you have Wi-Fi in your igloo?" and shit like that.
And they were being serious.
Yeah, like they weren't like even not like they weren't against me. They were on my team. Like they were being serious. They were being nice. They're just like didn't understand how I was playing with them from an igloo.
I think like what only like 20% of Canada is actually populated or something like that.
Yeah, it's something crazy like that.
I did like the points that you put out, DAO. Like one thing with Twitter and Twitter NFTs, like I don't understand if they know this or not, but like there's I would basically like say they're all marketing to themselves and they all don't want to spend money on each other's NFTs, basically.
Yeah, 100%. You nailed it. But some of them are like they're getting. I mean, it's basically, and this is where crypto gets the bad name at. I think is like where Ponzi scheme comes in because what we're getting is these projects coming out, and they're saying buy this, and then the people get in early that bought the FUD, all the nonsense marketing, and then it's just them selling to the new people getting in, right? Like, I mean, I know that's how it works with stocks and stuff too, but not to the extent we're seeing it where it's like we're eating each other alive in this golden opportunity of Web3.
Well, it's because like think of it as like again like a cycle, right? So right now we're in the like tribal phase where like we're all like living in quote unquote teepees in tribes and like chilling together and eating each other alive and destroying each other but it's gonna evolve a lot faster than it did when we didn't have this technology and when we weren't so interconnected. So and it's also way more visible to everybody, like we knew or we know now that like tribes used to do shit like this, but back then people didn't know that everybody else was doing the same shit. They were just living. They were just like killing each other and killing things and trying to survive, right? And that's the point we're at in Web3. Like it's early. It's like fucking the Wild West or like tribal, like the world back in tribal days.
I know. That's why we need some form of organization. Not like government organization, but like where we have like a council of DAOs and artists and entertainers or something, just to like put out like, hey, this is the way we're doing things.
It gets very sticky where it could
I know.
easily go to the Empire and the Jedi's, like, you know what I'm saying?
I know.
Control
There's a whole
shit.
bunch of Bitcoin maxis and stuff on Fediverse, if you know what Fediverse is and stuff. They're trying to do like a similar thing, except for from what I saw, it was mostly Bitcoin. Where I think we have to have cross chain operability. What's up, Robin?
I was going to say who's going to be the agent for change, because yes, we do have to figure out how do we stop eating ourselves alive and invite more people into the tribe. But we're not going to get that way when we're putting out all of these, like you said, skin operations. So who's going to be that avenue for change here? Because it's necessary, and if we're at that point in time in which if you are going to be that avenue for change, you have no competition.
Man, that was a bar. It was definitely a bar. And that's 100% real right there. There's no competition when you are the one changing the game instead of playing the game.
Another addition to that, that is where I actually said that I would actually begin to start selling food for crypto, or putting food on the blockchain, or turning food into NFT. Just some ideas that I had, but I know I'm already undercutting the price of the store just by me not having as much debt or the expense that the store has. And when it comes to cryptos, NFTs, Web3, then all of that is just a waiting game. So if I have to take the hit on food in order to give people food for very, very cheap, and just hold crypto or hold anything regarding like blockchain or Web3, I can take that hit, because I know my field is going to continuously produce food. And at that point, if I'm willing to take the hit, if I'm willing to take the risk, well, that's how you make a come up.
So, in conclusion, you're going to be growing a bunch of food on your land with mRNA in it that allows you to control everybody to buy your PFPs instead of them all trying to buy. No, I'm just
In my digital farmland, yes, I will. Buy all the digital mRNA you can. When it comes to like physical goods, I don't know about that. We're going to talk.
So, are you trying to do this as like a DAO structure, or like how are you trying to sell the crypto as food? Like at DSO there's not a lot of on-chain shopping that I've seen, but DSO has DSO Shop and apparently another actual e-commerce store on the blockchain. So, I'm interested how you're thinking about doing that.
I like to say that I'm when it comes to understanding, I understand things pretty well, but of course we all have things that are outside of our capabilities. So under or the structure or the creation, I don't understand how to do that. So if anybody is wanting to help me out in that, we can go ahead and start to set up something to where we are releasing products in the way of like you said, in a DAO structure, or just products in general, or when it comes to evolving the overall Web3 crypto space. So we don't have $1 million JPEGs. We have reasonably priced goods, consumable goods that you could either purchase at the same price as the dollar, or you could take that hit and take that risk.
I am with it. Fresh, you both are DLA DAO developers too. I think this is something we should help with, get involved with for that type of this. I mean, this is what we've been talking about: is in real life assets and tokenize them and bring in, decentralizing everything. What do you guys
Well,
think?
listen, I'm with it because like I'm really of the mind that like we need to stop even thinking in like dollar terms, right? Like just like let's find something we can agree on. Like the bananas are worth 2D, so or you know what I'm trying to say? Like we we need to move out of this like USD state of mind where we're just thinking in that dollar. If we're gonna work in the crypto space and we're gonna decentralize everything, we can compare it to it and see how it's doing. But why are we like pricing in it?
So basically,
Exactly.
oh, go ahead. Yeah, I was gonna follow up on Fresh. You know, with some of the pricing structures that we have seen, what has been taken out is the power of the buyer to place a value on something rather than the government placing a value on something. So basically, like if the buyer sees something, he's like, "Hey, I think it's this price is worth this price." Great. No one's standing over his shoulder saying, "Oh no, 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 you could have squeezed that guy for 15 more dollars or whatnot." Let the buyers and the people that are coming to assess or appraise whatever you have out there, give them the power to make that final decision.
Yeah, like if you're let's say again, like you're selling bananas and you don't price it, I come to you and I say, listen, I'll give you 2 diesel for this box of 30 bananas. Like, you know what I mean? And if you agree, then we exchange the money and the goods. And if you don't agree, it's fine. But we both have the power there instead of like the government tells you no, H, you have to sell your bananas for this price.
Robin Hood, are you on DSO already with like a diamond account or anything?
Yeah, I'm already on there. I've looked at the I've swam through the entire DSO blockchain at this point.
Okay, let's see. Is it the same name?
Yeah, it's the same name.
I think another big one is going to be like the Cosmos ecosystem. I think that like
Oh,
looking
yeah.
at that for something like this might be a good idea too.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
lots of
yeah.
options.
Yeah, for sure. That's in the Cosmos ecosystem. There's Dig blockchain, DIG, and they're tokenizing real estate. They already have the blockchains being used because it allows local and townships, whatever, because there's so many different regulations and all that, to create their own blockchains for the real estate. Takes a lot of the middleman stuff out. Makes the whole buying process quicker, buying and selling process, I should say.
Like I think a big thing is going to be physical goods, but in physical locations, right? So like having a grocery store that accepts these currencies as tender so that you can purchase and it doesn't have to be only online where like I don't want to buy something from you and you got to ship it to me and it takes all this time. Like things like food, if when you're talking about shipping in smaller amounts like that, there's way too much loss. There's way too much waste. There's way too much insurance needed. Like whereas if you have it at a store and people can buy it, like if you know what a grocery store sells and you know like how much of these things sell based on like years of grocery stores.
Yeah, that's something that I was already looking at. I was wanting to get something built that allows consumers, that allows citizens or community members to find and locate small farmers and be able to purchase farm goods, food products, commodities through the app or at a physical location with cryptocurrencies. I was already thinking about all of this. It's just that I don't have the technical know-how or the capacity to do any of it at all.
Well, I think actually Shopify could like really simplify that with Avalanche, I believe is what they use. Because like for example, I already was buying my meat and stuff like that from a farmer like we met him at a farmer's market, and then like got his number, and we would order from him every other week or whatever. And so like if he was able to have an easy transaction through crypto, like that it, and again they're making the Shopify already has the implementation for it. Like you can already sell things in crypto on Shopify. So I think again it's more about onboarding them. Like we have to bring the technology to them because the technology is already there.
Yeah, you're right about that. I didn't know Shopify does allow that, but I know like for me, or not for me, but what I was thinking about for the industry was like if you are going to have all of these separate farming operations pop up, that you want something like a little bit more specific to that industry, to where if you did need to do something like create like a barter system. And Shopify doesn't allow a barter system. You could create that barter system to where, let me pay you in crypto, let me pay you in this other good that I have myself. So then going to that kind of system. But I know another thing that did interest me in the whole situation around structuring payments, or structuring produce purchases in the Web3 crypto blockchain, was that when it comes to like, let's say you have employees or you have investors, then at that point in time each purchase would be split into automatic payments, either to the individuals that helped grow the food, or the individuals that you have investing in your farm.
Yeah.
So I just sent you some DLA DAO tokens for my personal dev payout rewards, and I want to drop some to everybody here in the room. Dallas, Joseph, Connor, for you guys hanging around the show, creating such a great show with us tonight. This has been a fantastic show, in my opinion. I can't find you guys though on Open Fund here. What's your, if you want to drop in the room chat, or just tell me real quick what your names are on DSO, where I can actually get it to your wallets real quick. I got Robinhood already. I couldn't find. Oh yeah, Joseph, you're wealthy criteria. That's right. What about you, Dallas?
I also sent everybody some Entre coins.
Yeah. I do a little entre shower too from the Dow here. But I'm dropping this little airdrop is from my personal stuff, just because I appreciate the actual civil debate and discussion. This is what we need moving forward as a species. And then by
Ready.
Yep, exactly. And by having the tokens, you are official member of the DAO. You have governance to be able to vote in proposals moving forward with the DAO and all that stuff if you want to. But we definitely want to, I at least, it sounds like H and Fresh want to help you get your DAO rolling. Be a good partnership, I think, to make here going forward.
For sure.
That would be awesome.
Let's see, did anybody drop MW Dallas? Okay.
Hey Dallas, you unmuted yourself. What was going on?
Oh, well, at one point, I guess we got away from the. Hold on.
I think that's why.
Sorry, my dog went crazy. I just was because like initially we were talking about how to like, I mean when I didn't like I wasn't keeping minutes, so I don't know exactly what happened with where we segued, but at one point we were talking with talking about dual citizenship and kind of like working around these the changes of the IRS and all that stuff. I just kind of wanted to revisit that. But before we do, I also want to agree that I really enjoyed the the dialogue here today. Is a great show. But I guess in regards to the farming and all that, I don't understand. Like, I guess I feel like that would be more of like an anchor in some ways too. I mean, unless it's like an international piece of property parcel you got going on, but in regards to like, you know, expanding beyond that, you know, the Federal Reserve and IRS thing that we talked about initially, I just was wondering about how you would address that, or if it changes that farming thing at all, or even affects it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, like you're going to be tied to a piece of land, like any way you go. But like, where the benefit from this is like, of course, you have you have the ability to price your food at a much cheaper rate than what say Walmart or anywhere else would be. So it would mainly just be taking away control from national suppliers that would not be able to beat you in price, basically. So it's really going to be a war against the current economic structure. Of course, the government and IRS can always come in, change the game, or do whatever they want to do. They have the guns. So it's just about finding a pathway and developing some type of resiliency. I know the way that I see it happening is like at some point the government says that it's not worth it to involve themselves in a situation nationally. Like I take for instance what's happening over in California. If the water levels do get too low, then what does that mean in terms of like an emergency such as a fire breaks out in a heavily populated area? Well, the government isn't going to waste water to put out that fire in that area if we're already low on water. So there might be some areas in which the government may say that, hey, we're going to go ahead and relinquish control of a certain aspect of what we've grown into governance. But we all know that the government likes to expand, so it's probably just going to be taking one step at a time and just strengthening ourselves in our local communities, in our regional communities, or even on our blockchain communities. But it's all about taking power from the current standing.
100%. 100%. And it's individual too, like learning how these systems work, these financial systems, and how to operate within them. Like that gives you a advantage against 80% of the mass consumers, because that's where you get into where am I just going to be a consumer my whole life, or am I going to produce some type of value like Robin Hood's been talking about, you know, the whole production. And individually, like if you are a musician right now, you already are decentralizing your resources through NFTs. Well, I hope you are. If you're not yet, you should probably do that. But like that's where we're going towards, is individually, community, local levels being sustainable with what they've got instead of relying on debt and fake money to have all the nicest things that we want to have, right? Like,
yeah. Well, can I? Okay. Well, I mean, I'm glad you brought up music because, as you know, that's like a big part of my life. And at this point, you know, granted, I have to admit, you can all consider me a entry level, you know, Web3 user. Like I understand the concept of it, but like the application of it is, it's difficult for me to find the incentive. Here's why: is because at this point, like it's appealing from my perspective. That the appeal of it is that, you know, it is decentralized and it does take away, you know, it like there's a method. It's merely one means or one avenue a person or a musician, creator, whatever, what have you, can take to put the power back in their own hands in a way. However, the main question is just like what we're talking about with decentralized banking. The same thing applies to music, where it's like, if the power goes out tomorrow and or something like that, or like actually a better example is 2 days ago or even yesterday, Spotify crashed worldwide. So the question is, if Spotify got a lot on my plate working. Yeah, all right, man, for sure. Absolutely appreciate that thought though. Oh, okay, sorry, I was just reading the chat. So what I was saying is that Spotify crashed like yesterday, and so for a lot of musicians, that's one. Granted, it takes a lot of streams, the stream count, whatever, which is absolutely dismal. But it's like the point is, if all that crashes, what's your infrastructure for selling your own music directly? And of course, the Web3 thing becomes appealing, where it's like, ding, oh, look, decentralized. Yeah, diversification, of course. So Web3 is merely, it's like a, not to oversimplify, but it's like merely a diversification for the distribution of your own content, free from those major players like Spotify, they're called DSPs, they're digital streaming providers or platforms. And well, like I'm just like, really conflicted with it, because it can be done so simply, where it's like in the Web2 space, even, where it's like all you need is an email list, a consistent content generation via, not only the music, but via, the email list contact, and then a simple website where people can sign up for the email list and buy your music. And as long as you have that centralized, like or centralized, I meant like as
Well,
a
it's even simpler than that, right? Because you can just create an RSS feed and then paywall it, and then you can have your own like streaming service, right? And you paywall it for like 99 cents a month, and then you always have access to my music. And like, so why bring it to Web3 though? Is because when you put it on the blockchain, like that's yours. Then like if somebody takes it, if somebody's using it or whatever, like you made it first. It's here.
Right, but so that's the other reason why now. See, so it's thinking ahead, thinking through that is that I've spoken with several attorneys in the Web3 space and things like that, and there have just because you release something on a blockchain alone, it is not substantive to stand as the sole means of establishing copyright. So, and like the best example of that is like people can screenshot or download illegally or whatever, and then repost it on their own thing, and it unfortunately happens. And Ben and I, we've been in the same room talking about this same kind of thing, and usually at this point there's another person on Entra that enters the conversation, and then it just spirals completely off topic. But so it's nice to be able to cut right through it. Is that I think it's all about the application. And so like what makes the most sense to me for the Web3 as a musician, especially in terms of concrete copyright protection, is using it as the simplest application as a ledger. And what I mean by that is that it's more like a Rolodex of the receipts for the filing registrations of the copyright. And that's what makes the most sense to me. Like, and then NFTs is a different layer of the blockchain, but I'm just saying like specifically.
So almost like a redundancy, like you would also have this somewhere else, but you would have this here with a time and date stamp so that you could like check it against this other thing.
Exactly. And like I guess Ben and I talked about this too, where it's like I think the closest thing that comes to that is like the split sheets, or what are they called in the Web3? Is that right? Split sheets. You know what I'm talking about, where like when you have a creator coin and you do like the splits, smart contracts. There it is. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, smart contract. I got you.
Yeah, smart. So like a smart contract, in terms of like the royalty side of things, but then Web3, like just for the actual ledger functionality of it, as I feel like that's going to be the best play. And I mean, does anyone else do you see where I'm
Yeah,
going with?
Robin Hood's got his hand up. He may have some
Oh, sorry,
insights for you.
yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I was going to chime in about what you were talking about with the situation in which you're trying to choose where to put your music at. And I would say, like, I look at everything as a community, right? So it's when you are a part of a blockchain, you're actually part of a community. That community may be 100,000 people, it may be 10,000 people, but what happens inside of that community is that you're staking your claim to your information within that community. So that's where that blockchain ledger comes into play, to where you can check your information in regards to that entire community. So every blockchain is its individual community. I think that may kind of go into something where you were referring to. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
absolutely.
Yeah, and
Let's-
data ownership. That's the other thing, is like it shows like, even though by the U.S. process of whatever, you're getting the true data ownership by having it on blockchain. You know, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, when you're a musician or you're a janitor or you're a developer, whatever you are, the bottom of the line is you're trying to survive, right? So what I look at Web3 right now for music is as a way to make a living as a musician without having to play the game that everybody else has had to play. Like you talk to Maintain, you know, he's one of our DSO artists around here. All his stuff is Web3. You know, he's in metaverses doing shows. He's selling his music as NFTs, his music videos, his spoken word, all that is NFTs. You know, that's the goal. Like, I think most musicians now is just to have a good living and do what you love, making music. So I believe that's the avenue of you'd want to go, because you don't need millions and millions of followers or radio plays or whatever in Web3. You just need a community, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Let me jump in. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I wanted to tell a story, right? So I recently moved from Houston. Houston has a population of almost 5 to 8 million people, right? So, in terms of what happens in an area that has that huge of a population, is competition is really high. When you have high competition, that drives up prices. When that drives up prices, you start to see inequalities form. You have people that make $1 million. You have people that make $100,000. You have people that make $10,000. And within that community of Houston, you have everybody is competing, and some people are not able to compete because there are too many people competing in that one area. So you have people that compete on a high level; those are going to be your $1 million earners, and then you have those people who cannot compete at all. Those are going to be the homeless population. And since Houston has been growing, I've been living in Houston since around 2013, 2014. And I have seen, because of the increasing population, that people could not compete. I was one of those people. Unfortunately, I didn't go homeless, but it was very hard for me to compete in that area. So what I did was I looked for an area in which they had less competition. I moved from a city that had a population of 5 to 8 million people to a city that had the population of 300 to 400,000. Now, that city where the population is 3 to 400,000, it's much easier for me to compete to gain a market share in that area because I don't have to compete with as many people. Now, when it comes to my farming practices, I took it one step further. My farm is located in an area in which there's only 1,000 people. So when it comes to the competition, I don't have as many people to compete with, and that's where you get your benefit at this point in time using Web3. Is you don't have to go into a community of 100,000 people and hit 100,000 people because there might only be 1,000 musicians. You only have to capture 100 people to be successful within that blockchain or that community because there's not that much competition, and that's where we're at this moment.
Yeah, 100%. And we'll definitely have to have a show on music here soon, all about music. We are up to the 30-minute pass mark for the show, but we have something we've been talking about in the works with DLA DAO and another artist, and we want to get more artists involved with in Web3. So if you are a music artist, definitely reach out to us to get more involved with that, as we'll be announcing that real soon. So if there's any last words from anybody for the end of this show? I mean, I hate to cut it off. It's been such a great show, but we do got to respect those listeners on YouTube and Twitter who, may not be able to watch
I did
it.
not know we were live.
What's that?
I did not know we were live.
Oh, yeah. We're live on Entre, Twitter, and YouTube. The DLA DAO show, we broadcast it to 3 platforms, and we're going to probably up the platforms as the show grows more. But yeah, we are live. So if you said something that your mama's going to be mad about, well, boy, you're in trouble now.
I don't want to expose anything here, but weekly music show.
Like, what do you're saying us one day have a weekly music show, or you guys having what are you asking here? You just said a weekly music show. It's a great idea, but I'm asking where are you going with this idea?
You said something about having a show that's more directed towards music for Dallas. I'm sorry that I kind of came in and changed the whole subject.
Oh no, I was just saying we'll definitely have an episode about music specifically, and I'm sure plenty of more episodes about music and Web3 and all of that, because part of we're focused in the play to earn section, the gaming sector of Web3. But part of gaming, which I keep yelling at everybody, is music. What game have you ever played that doesn't have music in it?
Exactly.
I mean, that's play to earn at the core, right? Like you're playing music to earn. That's
I'm a citizen on the Hive blockchain, and there's a group on the Hive blockchain that they have weekly music shows. It's not necessarily live. People upload what they did that week in terms of performances or shows, and that's the way that they put on their weekly music show.
Well, I have a few friends in Decentraland that put on a weekly DJ dance party type thing with a live DJ, and they're called the True Band Room, and they even have their own thing that you an NFT that you get for attending their parties and stuff like that. It's actually really cool.
What chain are they on?
Polygon.
So we got one on Hive, one on Polygon, and then like I mentioned, Maintain and Dawnfather, and a few other. I think.
I'm trying to bring my guys over too.
Yeah, over to DSO. Yeah, we've got people on DSO who, like I said, has already got music shows and stuff like that. There's not really a lot of music. I don't think there's anything music on Entra, right, Dallas? I mean, there's nobody who ever has any shows about it.
I think we should try to do that, maybe one weekend a month, where we get a bunch of artists to come do shows.
Yeah, I'm super down for that, and it's kind of a conflicted thing because a lot of it might be the wrong audience on Entra specifically, but maybe through Diamond App or DSO and Musai, who I know Mr. Triplet's a big fan of that, but I do have my music up there and everything like that.
Oh,
I'm
you're on
not,
Musai? Drop
yeah.
your link in the room chat there.
All right, all right.
Yeah, because I was actually about to just say, Musai is where all the artists, the platform they're using on DSO to put up their music as NFTs and songs and streams and all types of content. And it's good for podcasts too. It's not just for music, but right now we do have quite a bit of music artists from what I've seen so far.
I think live would be a nice thing though also.
Yeah, we got to get Mr. Triplet involved with this because that's also something he's trying to do is live stream events into Entre and metaverses and stuff. So we could have him do like a metaverse side of the music show where people are actually performing, and then we have, or maybe he's got live performances going somewhere. Then we've got artists in the metaverse going, and we have like a Woodstock or something like that. For Web3. Web3 Woodstock. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm
stock.
down with that.
Web3 stock.
Web3 stock.
Well, listen, it's not Web3, it's Web Plus.
Well, yeah, that's right. They changed it. That's Web Plus now.
Yeah, I'm I like well, I guess we're wrapping it up, but Ben, yeah, let's get on another call later with maybe Maintain and Fresh Bueller, whoever else, and Robin Hood, whoever else wants to talk about that music thing. I'm down.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I said, we already got something cooking for music artists that are DAO members and stuff to be able to get their music out and also have more than just music as the utility, some more utilities, extra added utilities. So it's going to be, I don't want to say too much yet, but.
Well, and there's something in the works with Mr. Triplet. Like, there's a bunch of stuff in the works right now, music-wise, in the background, but not much can be said here, I think, other than that.
Well, if you're wanting to up the adoption rate, events are the way to go.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. We that's like tomorrow is our Saturday episode, and we are more laid back on the Saturday episode, so we'll be playing some games, probably listening to some music and whatnot. So maybe that'd be a good idea. Music artists come by, drop their tracks while we're playing games or talking what we're talking about. We can listen to their tracks.
They can even like say live stream a show, and I can share my screen with the audio.
Oh yeah,
right? Like
yeah, just like Triplet was sharing Disney World.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a spot. This has been one hell of a show, ladies and gentlemen. There was a Spider-Man appearance live on camera, him flying across the sky. We've talked about everything from gene editing to the little bit about the stock market. The weekly analysis is, I guess, I don't know. NASDAQ has dropped. We'll get a Rooster maybe to join tomorrow for the Saturday episode. Maybe get him to do a quick analysis or HH before we hop into the fun stuff. But yeah, appreciate everybody joining us for DLA DAO Show episode 7. We just keep on nailing these shows, and it's all because of you here on the Entre community. If you're out there on Twitter or YouTube, get on DSO, get on Entre. Come join us. Come join the discussions. If you don't mind, follow us. And there's actually above right now, you are seeing Dom Father, one of the DAO members, in his music video that I actually personally chopped up and edited for him for his song Frieza, because that song was an awesome song. But we're here Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern. Go follow DLA DAO wherever you can find us in the Framework Fortune Media Network. Shout out to my co-host, H&H Trader, Fresh Bueller, and everybody else who joined us today. You guys have a great rest of your night. Until next time.
Low nigga, I'm
Shout
a
out to Muhammad Ali.
yeah, for the stars, destiny, recipes heavily, reveling, mentally cleverly, sticking the recipes, on my way to them niggas ain't catch me, swiping them cards till I hit the 70s, till I hit the 70s. I'm freezing, I'm in Atlanta with pieces, you know who's fighting them bees, you know the deal, it's niggas who wanna be me, and I'm just trying to be a leader, I never turn on my people, not for the equal legal, nah, for real, sometimes I feel like I lead, sometimes I feel like I'm freezing, I'm in Atlanta with pieces, you know who's swiping them bees, you know the deal, it's niggas who wanna be me, and I'm just trying to be a leader. I never turn on my people, not for the equal legal, not for real, no. Nah, for real, shit get real for these $100 bills. And shawty busting out the veil, feeling the veil, pushing just trying to invade. Like fuck it, I'm feeling betrayed, busting out a cat, approach me to come back, I'm failing out to the black.